You know what I'm here for.
Back on top, punching the clock, clutching sanity.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back. James Harden made his debut in Philly last night, so I want to talk about it. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and let's go ahead and get into it. I don't really like doing one game reactions, especially to like trades and stuff, because it's just one game. But at the same time, when the trade of this caliber happens, you kind of got to react to when both sides get their players on the court, and we still have yet to see Ben Simmons in Brooklyn, and we finally got to see James Harden in Philly. So it was a pretty surprising game, I think, from my perspective, just the way it looked so easy for this team offensively. It was kind of surprising just how free-flowing the offense was. And I saw James Harden doing shit that I haven't seen him do in so long. Like, he was moving off the ball to, you know, create wide open looks. Like, he was playing like he enjoys playing basketball again, which obviously the end of Brooklyn was not a good look for him, as he looked out of shape again and he looked disconnected. Now he seems to be happy, he seems to be connected again. And I think people forget James Harden is still an elite basketball player. Like, this is the James Harden that, you know, we know and we've seen for the last, you know, several years. And if he's like this, it adds a different dynamic to this Philadelphia team. And I'm gonna let this game hold a little bit more weight, because I do respect the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they're still a very good team, but they got it handed to them last night. Like, Philly came into their arena and really gave it to them. Like, it was a surprising game just how good Philly looked. I didn't expect them to look this good off rip. When I talked about the trade, I just wasn't sure how to expect the offense to look, how James was going to respond to playing with somebody like Joel. And first game looked very good. Like, they were playing off of each other very well. The pick and roll game looked good, and even like though Joel is more of a pick and pop big, it still works because he's still elite at that. And it got me thinking, like, James Harden hasn't played with a pick and pop big since like Ryan Anderson, I think, in 2017. Like, that's the last time I remember him playing with somebody that can really stretch the floor, you know, at a pretty good rate from the big man spot. And Ryan Anderson had one of his best seasons with James Harden, and it really opened up the game even more for James to operate. So this dynamic could be more deadly than maybe some people anticipated, some people meaning myself. But it's all about how James buys in, and I think he's gonna buy into the fact that this is still Joel's team, and I'm just here to, you know, straighten up some things on the perimeter, on the edges, and playmaking and stuff like that. And first game, he looked good in that department. And then what I like to see was he got back into his bag a little bit. Like, I don't really think we've seen him that much this season, you know, start stepping back on people and hitting tough shots. And he shot the ball very efficiently too, which was impressive. He had a stretch like around the end of December, early January where he was playing really well. And it's like, oh, this is the James Harden that we know. And maybe that was just for him to show people that he can still hoop, but he wanted to get out of Brooklyn at the same time. But first game, so far so good. The things I'm interested, I was texting my dad last night, and he's pointing out some things like this team can be very deadly because they still got some guys that can shoot the ball, which is true. You know, Danny Green's not elite like he used to be, but he can still stretch the floor. Maxey can shoot, Tobias can shoot. They got guys that can shoot the ball. They don't have the elite floor spacer in Seth Curry, which they lost in the trade, but they got guys that can kind of make up for it. And they got defenders, man. Danny Green can still defend at this age. Matisse is a menace on the defensive side of the ball. Like, it seemed like every other possession he was getting a deflection or a steal or a block or something. Like, he is a menace on the defensive side of the floor. And keeping him in that trade, I think, might have been the biggest part of it all, man, because he is so valuable on the defensive side of the floor. And he brings a lot to the table, you know, for this team on defense. So having him, you know, Danny Green, Tobias is not a bad defender. Like, they got options on the defensive side of the floor. I'm interested to see who's going to be the consistent third guy. I think whenever you have that dynamic duo, it's always key to, like, who's going to be that third guy. And maybe it's not going to be a specific guy for this team. Maybe it's just going to be guys on different nights. Like last night, it was Tyrese Maxey. Maybe Tobias will have his nights. Maybe you'll have a Danny Green game where he hits like 4 or 5 threes, or Shake Milton off the bench. Like, they got options. And when you have two guys that are so elite like Joel, like James, you might not need to have somebody like consistently every single night. Like, you may not need a third wheel. Maybe you just need guys that can contribute as a third option, which I think they had. Like last night, Tyrese Maxey had 28 points. He was big time. He's getting out on the fast break, finishing, you know, in transition. He was doing his things that he's been doing all season long. But having James Harden alongside him is just gonna make it even easier for him to do his thing. So, man, I might have underestimated the impact of James Harden, but it is just one game. I want to see them match up against some other teams. And I also want to see Brooklyn get their, side of the trade out there. They said Ben Simmons hasn't even started like intense basketball activities, which is very underwhelming. And Brooklyn needs it right now because they just lost the game to the Celtics the other night. Like, they need all the help that they can get. But yeah, I know I'm a little late uploading this video, but I had to get my thoughts out there. And leave a comment about what you think about James Harden's debut. How do you think Philly's gonna pan out the rest of the season? Are they the favorite in the East? Let me know. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll be back next time with another video, y'all. Peace.
Off season. Let's work. Hey, plotting my escape this game.